Right, if you have one of these plastic nightmare piece thermostats, I'll show you a good, nice little shortcut when you have it apart. First of all, if you haven't learned yet, this car has something called service position. If you notice, the whole front of this car is off here. This can take 20 minutes. You can have the whole front of the car off and have it in this position here. So it's much easier to work on. Look up service position. This is an Audi A3, but it's the same, almost the same as a Jetta TDI. There's a video I have, service mode, service position for this car. You might want to watch that video. So again, this can save you quite a bit of grief, having it in service position before you start doing this job. Trying to do this it's possible to do it without service position, but I can tell you right now, you'll probably spend more time doing that 20-minute job in the beginning. Will probably save you 2 hours of grief and nightmares and reaching in little places and not having fun. So if you want to do it the other way, you can go ahead and do that, and that's up to you. It might be faster, but you might end up with just a pain in the butt. I think it's faster to do it with service position, but that's not the trick. The trick is normally you need to take out this oil filter housing, and I figured out how to get behind there and get the bolts out and leave this in place. So not taking this off can save you a bit of time. Here's the tools you need to do it. The links are in the description. This is a set of stubby triple squares. They're very cheap on Amazon. You can order a set of these before you start the job. And you need a 1/4-inch drive wobbly extension. You see how this wobbles like that? It has to be a wobbly extension. You cannot fit a wobbly in there as well as the stubby. There's not enough room. Wobbly extension like this. Another tool I'd recommend is getting a set of these wobblies for taking off the thermostat itself. It's pretty tight in there. You could probably get it with something else, but using a wobbly and a long extension like that sure does save some time. So you need to take out, there's one bolt that's back behind here. See if I can get the phone in to show you where it is. If you can see down in there, this thing comes out. There's this little thing that's covering it. There's a bolt here. So this goes on there. Back in there, there's a bolt. I don't know if you can see the blank one there on there. That has to come out. The best thing to use for that is your regular set of triple squares and a wobbly extension, because then you can actually use your electric ratchet here to take it out. So you can just reach in there, take that guy out, and then behind the thermostat or behind the oil filter housing, if you can see, that's the bolt that you have to take out behind there. So there is not a lot of room. It has to be a 1/4-inch drive set extension. So if you see here, to get in here to get that bolt started back up, you can actually reach both hands around the thermostat or the oil filter housing and start that bolt back up, no problem. It's not easy. That's why you need it in service position, so you can get your hands in there. If you didn't have it in service position, it'd be really hard to reach behind there to get that bolt in, to put it back in. So again, this is your setup, this little tiny guy here. What I do is I put that on it first, reach with both fingers, go behind there, put it on as far as you can. You almost have to hammer this guy in, okay? You almost have to hammer it in, and then you crack it loose. Once it's loose, you can get it out easily. It comes all the way out. You get that bolt out. So you take that one out and the other one over here, and the 2 thermostat bolts out. And then what you do is you take your little pry bar. I don't know where my little one is right now, but you reach in here, carefully pry this tube here. It's called the coolant pipe. You pry on this hose right here. You can leave the hoses connected to it. You pry them over as far as you can, and then take your thermostat over here and start wiggling it around. It's going to be really tight. Start wiggling it around and wiggling around, and then finally the thermostat will come loose from the pipe, okay? Because there's an O-ring connection in there. I'll show you what it looks like. So on this thing right here, this tube, This is connected to that tube. There's an O-ring inside of here, so it's a little bit tight coming out. So what you need to do is take it outward and then pry that thing over as far as you can. You wiggle this guy around and slide the O-ring connection off, and you'll get it to come loose. It will just clear the alternator and alternator bracket. It will just clear it. It's just barely, it's within a millimeter of tolerance in there, and you can get this thing to turn the corner and come out without having to take that thing off. Most guys are taking this thing off. This could save you a lot of cleanup. Okay, number one, you have oil is going to be leaking everywhere. And if you put that gasket on wrong, that could be a major issue. Those gaskets are really hard to get in place because you can't see very good behind there. And trying to get that gasket lined up is a little bit tricky. Some guys will be like, oh no, it's easy, I do it all the time. Whatever. Hey, this saves you some time though. If you don't have to take this guy off, it really isn't that hard to do, and it can come right out this way. Save you some time, put some money in your pocket if you're a mechanic. I'm sure that they have the man hours in the job to remove this, and it probably could save an hour, 2 hours of time, you know, depending on how much cleanup you got, because you got oil over the ground and all that stuff. So anyway, just a little trick there. While you're prying over on this end, you're wiggling this end, okay, and getting this guy to come loose. And finally, that O-ring connection will kind of come loose. You'll be able to slide it out and get it around and get it out of there. And then you can replace your thermostat without having to take that oil filter housing off. I'm going to tell you, it's not an easy job either way. There's no easy. This isn't easy. This is a hard, ridiculously hard job to do. You still do need to have, you know, and in service position, you need to have your EGR off. You need to have your flapper valve off. You need to have the tube off. So putting it in service, getting those parts off is way easier. So yeah, if you go right to service position and you do those things first, you pull that off, you could probably have this done in a few hours. It might take you, I would say, 4 hours time person, when normally it might take 8, you know, yeah, 8 hours to change the thermostat. Crazy. But anyway, I don't know what the man hours time is. I don't know all that stuff. I'm not a mechanic anymore, but I saw the shortcut, and since I was waiting for parts, I was waiting for this part to come. I ordered that set because I thought, you know what, I think if I got a stubby, I think it would work. So I went ahead and ordered the tool set and tried it today, and it worked. So anyway, little food for thought for you guys. Change your thermostat might save you some money, some time. I'll talk to you in the next video.